Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I think Dr. Abdullah, you spoke about another topic which is really I'm passionate about, so I'm glad you covered it. I'm going to cover another topic which I'm also very passionate about, which is technologies. So some people take it as an oxymoron because as you use a lot of technologies, you create a lot of climate impact, but I think technology hopefully will fuel and improve the circular economy. So today I'll try to attempt to align ourselves in understanding what AI is and what trends AI will going to bring into the market. So in case you don't understand anything, raise your hands and we'll give it a shot to understand it. All right. First, let's understand what is AI from understanding. Very simply put, AI is trying to mimic the human brain. That's it. So if that is the case, so that's mean the AI is not really recent. AI actually predate to 1648 when the first Pascal calculator was really advanced because you used to use paper and pencils to calculate things. So Pascal calculator just automated it. So that's what AI is all about. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the screen in front of me, so I keep on looking behind me to see what's coming up next. It's important to understand this slide because this is how all the AI models going to work and was working and going to work in the future. I'm not going to touch about singularity. That's a topic, huge topic for another time, but I'll only touch about this thing. For AI and machine learning to work, you need to have data, which is the smaller circle on the left side of yourself. Not having structured data, none of the above will ever work. So it's very important that we understand this big data. Now, big data has been there for a couple of decades, by the way. It's not only recent, but people were not really using it correctly, unfortunately, and did not use it properly. So if you don't know the data, you don't store it, you don't cluster it, then you will not be able to use it. So that's the advantage of having really big data. And all the organizations are sitting on huge amount of data, which can be used. We move to the next level, which is the part of the analytics. So analytics is basically understanding past data to make future decisions today. So it's very important that you have an analytics team who can make meaningful information from the data you gather. So every organization, particularly the government, the bank, financial institution, insurance company, they've got tons of data they can actually look at and make good decision out of that thing. I used to work in a bank, which is an international bank in 100 countries. We used to receive 100 terabytes of data on a daily basis. And the important for us, how do we make meaningful information from that data and cluster data? Then we'll move to data science, which is a little bit more bigger circle, which is study of the science of the data itself on large data, how do you cluster it, and how do you make a future decision on that? So you'll have branches and multidisciplinary of, for example, statistics, mathematics, and computer engineering will come into the play to make it happen. Those who are in the AI field will understand the meaning of these three circles. Now we come to the fun part of it, which is the deep learning. Deep learning is nothing but the neural networks that the human brain has. So it attempts to actually simulate the behavior of the human, although far away from it. So that's what it's trying to do. When you go a level higher, which is most of the world is at, which is the machine learning, whereas the real fun going on at this point of time, now it's trying to imitate the human brain and the way the human learns so it can work on complex data. So this is where your whole algorithm sits today. So all the algorithm of your computers are actually happening over here. Now, a lot of people come and claim saying that we're actually using AI. They're not really there, to be honest with you. They've been using it very lightly, the AI things. They're really labeling it as AI, but it's not really AI. Everybody's on the sphere of machine learning. Now, AI being the outer sphere, if we agree to the definition, what we're using it today, this is where your M comes, where you're actually mimicking your human cognition by bringing in more understanding what human does and then correct yourself. How do you correct yourself? So the machine is trying to correct itself. This is what AI is. So given with this understanding, let's move on to what are the applications of AI going to be there. I always believe, and I always echo these things, globally today we have two mega trends. One is the digital economy, and one is the circular economy. The digital economy, anything to do with AI, digital twins, metaverse, IoT, and so forth. And circular economy, anything to do with sustainability, renewable energy, decarbonization, carbon capturing, and all the beautiful talk Doctor has mentioned today, right? So, and the digital economy going to be fueling the growth of the circular economy. So if you look at some of the applications over here, you see on the most top left, the desalination plant. How do we make sure that we use technology to make it efficient desalination plant. I will touch upon it in a while, which is called using the technology of analytics and digital twins. Anybody heard digital twins? No? Yes? Okay. Just to let you know, Dubai Airport has a replica of digital twin. We as a group actually on a journey of building digital twin. So I'll explain it now. So basically, before you build a plant or a product or a service, you build it virtually to make sure it is the most efficient. Once it's done, you come and bring it in reality. And then what you do, you have the sensors to IoT, you'll be able to capture those data, so you'll be able to do proactive maintenance for them. Dubai itself has a replica of it. If you go to Dubai Digital, the company, the government body, they have the entire Dubai digitalized. So what they do, their urban planning, the traffic, the roads, the buildings, the CO2 emission, methane emission. Once they're fine with it, they come and infrastructure is built around in that neighborhood. So the entire thing is done over there. So that's the advance of the digital twins. Similarly, if you look at decarbonization plan, now there's a lot of talks that are happening on it. Abu Dhabi, which a lot of people probably don't know, has built the second, just last year, or starting to build the second carbon capture, which is with a company called Occidental Petroleum in US, because they bought a company called Carbon Engineering in Canada. So using a digital twin as well will make it very efficient. The last but not least over here is the green hydrogen. How do you efficiently produce green hydrogen despite the impact it has? So you make it very, very, very efficient. If we move on to the other industry, which probably we're familiar with, on the top right, you'll see in the medical field. Today, one of the clinics over here, large clinics over here, actually use AI to diagnose people. I was speaking to a doctor, what has he used? He said, look, when we do a colonoscopy or endoscopy, our AI system tells us that you probably missed a spot, go check it out. He said, often the AI is 99% accurate, but we still have to look at it. It could be benign, luckily, but we have to do it. So in the medical field, the use of AI is really a lot. So these are algorithms, let's remember that thing. Similarly, if you go to the banking industry, you'll be able to study the behavior of you. Most of you probably have credit cards, if not all. But still, most of you receive the same messages that anybody else receives. We've got a promotion, why don't you do that thing? We have a balance transfer offer. We have this offer and that offer. And probably 90% of the time, this offer does not match your need. Is that correct? With raise of hand? It doesn't. Why? Because they're still not using the data. They're still not making analytics on it. They're still not making the data science on it. They're still not doing the machine learning on it. So if they start doing that thing, imagine the effectiveness of the promotion, which we used to do in my previous job, which is back in 2004. So this is not really new. This is very, very old, predictive modeling. And of course, when you have fraud happening, it's very important for you to use these technologies to combat fraud, how it is happening. Robots has been there since 1920s, by the way. It's not new. Ford came up with the robots first, but now you'll advance it even further doing it. Retail industry also being there for quite some time, but it will expand. Imagine that today, if you want to buy something, before buying it, you're virtually trying it on yourself. This is where the metaverse will come. You actually see it on yourself. When you see it on yourself, so that's mean your order only go when you push the button that you want to buy it, so the production will only happen when you actually order. So that's mean we reduce with the technology, the unnecessary production. Do you know that 23% of what we produce on garments actually goes to waste? Unfortunately. Forget about recycling, all these big people do. We've traced it through our research companies, which is in Europe. Actually, many of them actually don't go for recycling. They're just brand labeling, double standards. They actually go for people in the poorer countries to use it as a burning so they can heat up in the cold winter, unfortunately. And of course, we all talk about the autonomous vehicles or flying taxis. Hopefully should be available next year. Now, this is where the metaverse will also come. I know the metaverse took a hype and came back down, but there will be a lot of use cases on what you call studied in the previous slide. So you'll actually be seeing things virtually before you actually do anything. And with digital twin, that's going to take it away. For example, Mercedes today, before they produce the vehicles, they actually build it virtually to see how efficient it is from all aspects, environmental, technological, efficiency, and so forth. And only then they build this thing. The same thing BMW does over here in the Middle East and in UAE. We ourselves building our own, as I said earlier, a digital twin for the plants that we're building in the UAE and also outside UAE, which is international exposure. So we need to make sure that whatever we're building, it's actually on the right real estate, so we make sure that they are there really efficient. This is a company from China. I think somebody's going to be presenting something similar tomorrow, that they actually invented through the AI a battery, a nuclear battery, which actually going to last you for 50 years, so you don't have to charge it again. And that's very important. This just came out a month ago, not really long ago. This is a test which is done. You see a small building over there. That's Dubai Silicon Oasis, which is in Dubai. They've done a drone test of actually transporting medication, so medicine, and also grocery. It was successful. So now they're looking at making sure with the aviation industry it will become something a mainstream. So you'll see this flying quite a lot. This is how your smart city will look like. How do you bring everything we can think of about digital, whether it's IoT, blockchain, Web3, and anything to do with renewable energies, together to have a smarter city we have. Of course, I also want to tell you and warn you about the digital footprint that digital also brings. So we have to be careful in doing it. I'm only trying to mention the good stuff over here, but there is a lot of cons as well you need to be worried about, which I'll mention in the next slide. I'll skip this. These are the Fortune 500 companies, by the way. For you to have a Fortune 500 countries, you have to have a lot of staff. And it's not easy to be a Fortune 500 companies. But with evolution of AI being there, you'll be able to have 5 million Fortune companies because you don't require a lot of staff. You'll be able to develop these companies very quick. You'll be able to scale up regionally and internationally, provided you have the right mindset and the vision behind them. Let's talk about one thing which is really worrying, the deepfake. Anybody heard deepfake? Probably most of you, as I see. This is a program I did yesterday, and where a program is available online, it actually mimics me, it finds something resembling me, and automatically bringing something. So whatever I could say and do, the other one will do. For some reason, it's not working, I don't know why. Yeah, it worked. So whatever I was trying to say and do facial impressions,
we'll start recording.
It will automatically
I've used this application where it actually depicts the deepfake at its best. So it's trying to find someone
reason it's
resembling
George
me,
Clooney. I did not choose
and now
it, by the way.
trying to do my impressions, even lips moving and so forth, facial expression, something resembling, and accordingly, it's just generated someone else. So imagine with this deepfake, you'll be able to do that thing. Of course, there are other software available which also can mimic the voices for you, and you can put any other voice if you want to. And it can actually impersonate person completely as is. So this is a short video just to give you the ability of AI, what it can do.
Scary? So I need to be worried about. So what do we need to do going forward? I'll just leave you with a message before, if there's time, we'll play a game. A lot of people are saying that we need to stop the development of AI. Others are saying, no, we should continue developing it. If we stop developing, let's say the good guys want to stop development of AI, as people called it, do you think the bad guys will stop developing it? Of course not. So what does we need to do? We need to collaborate together. We need to make sure that we upskill ourselves, and make sure we're ahead of the game. By the way, the industry of those who are in the deepfake has been there for quite a long time. I remember in one of my companies which are working, Citibank, our annual budget to combat fraud was about $600 million. You can imagine how big is one bank if that's the budget of combating fraud. What about the other financial institution, other government institutions are putting behind this mega organization who are actually working on fraud? And these people are with PhDs, by the way. They're not just street guys. They're really, really intellectual people. So we need to do that thing. Do we have time to do a quick game on deepfake, or we're done? We're done? We can do? Okay, we'll do a quick game then in that case. That's why I kept this slide. I'll flash pictures. I want you to tell me, I've done this before, so let me see what's the accuracy over here. Whether this is a deepfake or human created, either AI generated or human created. First picture. AI or human? Okay, it's human, so I'm just next one? You're right. Next one? Okay, I'm 50-50, I can hear. It is human, all right. Next. Human? Okay, no, sorry. Okay, this one? Am I blocking views of anybody? Yeah, okay, I am. Okay, sorry. Next. This is obvious. All right, you're right, AI. Okay. Okay, I still hear 50-50, so human. Last but not the least. AI, right? Okay, this is AI. Have you witnessed a couple of patterns? What are the patterns? The couple of patterns over here, what did you see? Background of what? Okay, correct, that's one thing. The very famous pattern, and the reason I'm saying it, I'll explain in a while, all the pictures which were on the top came from top to bottom, and therefore their writings. And all the pictures from bottom came from bottom up. And it was sequencing, human AI, human AI. This is how AI learns. And now it can 99% predict what's going to be the next picture. The more data you give it, the more predictability its confidence will build up. That's the use of the exercise. I think, okay, not ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT, by the way, all of us are using it, and I encourage my children to use it as well. But not every common sense is a common sense, by the way, so you need to be aware of. So I actually flashed this question to the ChatGPT a year ago, and also recently. What do you think the answer is for this? Intuitively, you answered correctly, Tatiana. Yeah? But look at the answer of the ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT. This was exactly March last year. March 2020, sorry, 22, sorry. Now, this is the same question I asked just a few months ago. It got elaborative, it improved 50%, but it's still wrong. This is what hallucination is all about. So while I encourage people to use all the AI technology available, I strongly also demand that you review it. It helps you quite a lot. We already started using AI, a lot of applications in our group. It will help us to reskill our people as well, and it moves very, very quickly. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention.